If you've been thinking about replacing windows in the UK, you've probably noticed how confusing the prices can be. One quote is cheap, another is double, and suddenly you're wondering how much new windows actually cost and who you can trust. In this video, I sit down with a professional window installer to break down real window replacement costs, whether triple glazing is worth it, and the biggest mistakes homeowners make. If you're planning new windows this year, this is what you need to know before you buy. I'm Steve Boylan and this is my home improvement hub. So for people that don't know you, what is your name and what is your business called?
Nick Walsh, and the business is My Custom Windows.
How long have you been installing windows and doors for?
Over 20 years.
What type of homes do you work on, Nick?
Residential homes in the whole, and covering a wide area of Liverpool and on the Wirral as well.
What made you get into this line of work, Nick?
It was a progression from doing brickwork and cavity wall ties, and then we progressed into the windows and doors.
So when should an homeowner seriously consider upgrading the windows and doors on their property?
Security is a big thing, as is energy efficiency, with all the new frames being A-rated, as are the double glazed units these days, also A-rated.
What are the biggest signs that windows and doors are no longer like doing the job in terms of security and keeping, and keeping that warmth in the house?
It's usually a lot of condensation on the inside and maybe damp patches on the interior walls. Drafts, obviously, as well.
So what's the difference between uPVC, aluminium or composite doors?
The cost is a big thing. The uPVC is the cheapest. You've got the composite doors in the middle, and the aluminium are the most expensive.
Are triple glazed windows actually worth it in the UK climate?
Yes, but the important factor to consider is that the unit has to be a minimum of 36 millimeters in depth. Double glazing is 28. You can have a triple 28, but that's actually no better than a double 28, and some companies will sell you that, but it doesn't actually achieve any better energy rating. It's about the air gaps. So if you have a 28 mil unit, the glass is 4 mil on 4 mil, and the gap is 20 in a double. You put another bit of glass in, you're taking 4 mil from the 20, so you've only got 2/8, so it's down to, but if you have 36, in Scandinavian countries, they're like this, triple glazed, because it's all about the air. As in your puffer jacket, the more feathers and the more puffy it is, the warmer it is.
So which windows and doors styles are the most popular and why?
Well, at the moment, what's very popular is the flush fit windows. We only fit Rehow windows, but their flush fit is called Rio, and that, in my opinion, is by far the best on the market, with rubber gaskets as opposed to brushed ones like all the other manufacturers. Yeah.
Roughly how much does it cost to replace windows in a typical UK home?
A terraced house is around between £5,000 and £6,000, semi £7,000 to £9,000.
What factors affect the price the most, Nick?
It is down to the choice of the windows. The flush fit are more expensive than the standard windows, and then colours are considerably more as well.
Is there anything else that would affect the price?
Yes, it's much more complicated job to remove wooden windows and replace old wooden windows with uPVC. It's a much quicker process and less labour intensive to take out uPVC and replace with uPVC.
So why do quotes vary so much between companies?
Well, some of the big companies start off at a massive high price and then have special discounts, shall we say. We've all heard of the buy one get one free. Obviously you don't really. And then they have sign now, do the order, we'll knock this off, we'll knock that off. But those big companies have also got massive overheads as well, whereas ours are extremely low, and we just give a good price to start off.
So where should homeowners never cut corners to save money, Nick?
I would say on the product itself. We are a recognised partner of Rehau, which is a German company, but all the frames are made in the UK, and it's a superior product and costs slightly more. And there's a lot of cheap stuff on the market these days, but when you buy a cheap frame, it has cheap handles, cheap hinges, cheap locking mechanisms, and the saving isn't worth having really. Some of the stuff's that cheap, it's only lasting 5 years. We're ripping out 5-year-old windows that are just gone. They're on new builds.
Yeah.
Because it's a race to the bottom of trying to save money and cut corners, and because the big house builders are fitting thousands and thousands of windows a year, so they just want the cheapest product, and they're not lasting at all.
Yeah. So are financing options a smart move for most people?
Well, depending on your circumstances, yes. We take credit cards. People like to pay with a credit card because they can sort out their own monthly payments and pay a little bit more when they've got a bit more and a bit less. We also do 2 years at 0%, which is quite, people do like that. And then if you want it over a long term, we can do it up to 10 years. Obviously, that increases the interest payable at the end, but it keeps the monthly payment really low.
So Nick, what qualifications or certifications should an homeowner look for when choosing an installer for their windows and doors?
They definitely need to look for the installation team have to be the Fencer, Certas or Assure registered, and this is for certification, and it's a really important thing, and either of these companies will you more or less guaranteed you get a good job off anybody that can give you the certificate. Some people have only heard of Fencer, haven't they? Because Fencer was the original one, but then they had a monopoly, so the government let other people set the same thing up. We'll all have to go by the same rules, and then Certas and Assure were born from that.
So what insurance should every installer have?
Public liability. You have to have it. We've got £5 million worth of public liability insurance should the worst happen, and it's with a reputable company as well. Anybody who wants to see our certificates and all our accreditations and everything we've got, they're more than welcome to see it. I don't mind showing people that at all, and I recommend that they should ask other companies to see theirs before any work is taken out on their property.
What are the major red flags when getting quotes, when an homeowner gets a quote from somebody?
Sometimes a quote can be really, really too cheap, and what they do then is, once they've ripped your windows out, it's, oh, look at this and oh, look at that, and we need to do a lintel here, and they want £750 a lintel, and by then they've got the homeowner bent over a barrel. A lot of companies will do that. We don't. We give you a price, no matter what happens. That is the price you would end up paying at the end of the job. Because what do? You've ripped your window out and all the brickwork's loose, mate. You're like, well, you have to put a lintel in. Well, how much is that? £750. All right, well, I've got 5 windows here. Yeah, well, it's nasty, isn't it? Yeah. But those type of people are winning jobs off me because I'm honest and give the proper price, and that they're coming in so much lower. And they're fitting inferior products, and some people will just leave all the rubble, all the old windows on your front lawn, and you go, what are you doing with that? You have to go skip. But by the time you add all these extra things in, like the price of a skip, the lintels, the brickwork, the this, the that, and the other, what you thought was a bargain cheap quote ends up not being, and is sometimes dearer than my first honest quote.
So people giving quotes are not detailing the quote in as much detail as what they should do. They're just giving a vague quote and not breaking down what things actually cost.
Yeah, but in a slightly unethical way, knowing that they can't do the job that cheap, and so they have to find something to add on to get their profit, basically. And it's not something I would do. Which we just wouldn't do that. I mean, another major red flag is when they insist that you and your partner there at the same time before the salesman comes round, that's a red flag that a salesman is going to come, because the only hurdle a salesman can't overcome is when one of the two people who make the decision then says, well, I'll have to speak to my husband, or I'll have to speak to my wife. And if they're not in the room at the time, the salesman can't progress the sales process any further. So if you don't like salesmen, the red flag is when they insist that both people who make a decision are but there at the same time. That is you're going to get a high pressure salesman at your house. And that is a red flag, because I don't like that, do you?
No, definitely not, yeah.
So what you'd say if your wife wasn't in is, well, I have to speak to my wife. Well, you can't say, well, why'd you have to?
Yeah.
He can't. So he would say, Steve, are you the only decision maker? And you go, no, well, it'd be me and my wife who make a decision. Oh, right, well, you need both to be there then when I call. That he's going to give you the high pressure.
Yeah.
And sign now and come on, what's wrong with you? And
yeah. So how can an homeowner spot cowboy builder early?
It's normally things like they haven't got any public liability insurance, they're not registered with a governing body, and reviews is a big thing. You know, it's took me 7 years on Checker Trade to get 124 reviews. They're all 10 out of 10. And people say, well, yeah, that's not many. But I've done thousands of jobs in those 7 years, and I've done thousands of bad jobs. I can guarantee you'd have thousands of bad reviews. So that's you know, if somebody's got hundreds of good reviews, they must have done thousands of good jobs, is what I would say.
What should always be written into the contract, Nick?
Time frames, the actual price, wording such as that the price won't change. Just little things like that can make a big difference at the end of the job. That somebody's going to be honest and stick to the price that's quoted in the contract, and that it won't alter.
And so that contract is very, very important for an homeowner to get there.
Yes, yeah, it is. And somebody that doesn't want to give a contract may not necessarily stick to the price quoted.
Quoting to fully finished installation.
At the outset, I'll go out, give the customer some brochures.
Yeah.
Explain about the different types of windows, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I briefly measure and then get them a quote within 24 hours.
Yeah.
If they have any questions, they can ask me by text or WhatsApp or just ring me.
Yeah.
After that, if they accept the quote, there's a deposit to pay, which we only take on credit cards for the consumer's protection.
Yeah.
After that, and then it's properly surveyed and measured accurately for manufacture. We arrange a date to have the installation done. That's agreed with the customer, obviously. The team's booked in. We arrive. Everything is, before the windows are removed, we check that the new windows are going to fit properly.
Yeah.
When we're happy that everything's okay, and everything's been manufactured to our dimensions and our dimensions are correct, the windows are removed and the new ones are fitted.
So how long do most windows and door work actually take to complete?
A full house is done in a day. Sometimes it may overlap and go into a second day. It's rare that it takes more than 2 days.
So how much disturbance should an homeowner expect it when?
Unfortunately, it is quite noisy and dusty, and we do cover all the floors, and we do use brand new sheets over people's couches and bookcases, televisions, etc. They're removed from the wrapper, brand new. Because who wants an old sheet covered in dust or covered in somebody else's dog and cat hairs thrown out their couch? Well, I wouldn't, would you?
No, definitely not. Yeah. So it's important for you that you get really good high quality sheets to put over people's furniture when you're installing the windows and doors.
Yes, because it is disruptive and it is noisy, and I get that it's somebody's home, but unfortunately, taking out all the old windows and putting new ones in is noisy, dusty and disruptive. And there's no other way to get around it.
So what prep should an homeowner do before the installer arrives?
Remove their blinds, unless they aren't going to reuse them, and then we can just remove them for them. But yeah, just blinds and curtains really, and move a bit of furniture out the way so we can sheet all the floors for them, and keep everything as clean and tidy as we possibly can.
What aftercare guarantees and warranties should come with quality work, Nick?
Well, we provide an insurance-backed guarantee, because anybody can give a guarantee and then not stand on it. So the first port of call if there's a problem with the installation that we've done is to ring me. I'll come and sort it out. But if I wasn't available because I'd retired, emigrated, or whatever, and the customer's then got the insurance-backed guarantee to fall upon.
Yeah, and what does that look like for the customer getting the insurance-backed guarantee sorted out?
They're given that with the compliance certificates at the end of the job, and it has a phone number for them to ring and email addresses to get hold of the insurance company. An important thing, anybody that can give an insurance-backed guarantee is a qualified installer. An insurance company won't just let any old builder who does inferior work give their guarantees out, because they'd be inundated with people calling, making claims on them.
Yeah. So it's important for the insurance company to only insure reputable.
Well, we all know that insurance companies don't like paying out, so they're not going to give somebody who isn't reputable and doesn't know how to fit a window, go around giving their insurance policies out willy-nilly to everybody.
Yeah, and what about warranties then? Does that
the glass is guaranteed for 10 years, as are all the mechanisms and the frames and handles and everything.
Right, so everything guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. So what's the biggest mistake that you see homeowners make when they're getting new windows or doors?
It's usually just going for the cheapest quote, because normally people will regret that. And it doesn't end up being the cheapest quote at the end of the day. It's normally a poor installation. The person isn't certified, they won't register the job with the local council. We do all of that, and we give an insurance-backed guarantee as well.
So you mentioned earlier as well about making sure like the product itself is good quality.
Yes.
So would that be another big mistake if by choosing a really low quality product?
Yes, because we're actually ripping out frames from new builds that are less than 5 years old, because of the quality of them is just super, super low. And what I would say is that when you look at one white plastic frame and then look at another, they all appear the same initially, but we only fit the best, and that's Rehow. I mean, I would add that there is a place in the market for cheap frames, and that place is if you sell in the house and you want to make it look okay, because they will look okay for several years. If you're just going to do a house up and renovate it to sell it to make profit, there is a place for these cheap frames. But if it's your home and you plan on living there for 15, 20 years or more, then buy a better product. That would be my advice.
Have you ever had to fix an installation that's gone completely wrong?
I've actually done surveys because we're qualified and registered company. A lady was making a Section 75 claim on a credit card to get her money back because the installation was so poor, and she instructed us to do a report, and she did actually end up getting her money back. And then she paid us to go and rectify all the problems from the previous installation.
So what cheap decisions, like people when they're looking to get cheap things done, usually cost the most in the long term? So for when you said before about low quality product.
Well, the type of person that would fit a low quality product, knowing full well it's going to fail in a short term. They're not the type of person that would come back and rectify it. They're the type of person who wouldn't answer the phone to you or change the company name or whatever.
So it'd be making sure you find getting a really good product installed from the off by a reputable company.
Yes, and then you can't really go wrong. If a reputable company is going to fit a high quality product, and they're doing it to the standard of the certification, which means that it has to be installed to British building regulations, and the work can be inspected by the governing body, and that installation company would be in trouble if they didn't do it to the regulations, and the regulations state how it should be done, and that is how it should be done properly.
So what problems come up from poor fitting rather than poor materials?
Poor fitting is usually drafts. They will not completely foam the entire surround of the window. What they do is spot foam it, leaving gaps, and they use cheap foams and cheap silicones. We only use Sudal, which is German again, and the best. Costs a little bit more, but it's worth every penny in my opinion.
What are the best upgrades for energy efficiency?
It has to be the modern double or triple glazed units that have a eco coat inside them that reflects the heat back into the room. Yeah. And also the units are full of a gas called argon.
What are the biggest myths about windows and doors?
A big myth about them is that triple glazing reduces noise. It doesn't actually. It's more energy efficient if you go to a 36mm unit, but it doesn't actually decrease noise. For that you need acoustic glass, but we can also do that for you for a little bit extra.
Give me one question that every homeowner should ask an installer before they hire them.
It has to be to see their registration card, to see that they're qualified to survey and install windows, and that they can give compliance certificates. Yeah, that's it. It is really important.
What's the best time of the year to replace windows and doors?
Our busiest time is December, but I wouldn't say that that's probably the best time, because you've already had a couple of months of winter before that. So I'd say it's before the winter starts.
What's the cheapest mistake that people regret the most?
Going with the cheapest quote and not using a regulated company that will do the job to building regulations. I think it's got to be that.
Yeah. So if a homeowner remembers just 3 things from this episode, Nick, what should they be?
I would say get a quality product like Rehow. Make sure that the installation company is regulated by Fencer, Certas or Assure, and don't go with the cheapest quote, I'd say.
Have you got any final tips for people planning an upgrade this year, Nick?
Yeah, do your homework, do your research. It's an expensive product. You're talking of thousands. Spend a couple of hours reading people's reviews, making sure they're qualified to do the job and that they're going to fit a quality product. And then I think you shouldn't go far wrong with that. And get multiple quotes, get 3 or 4. I'd say 3 as a minimum, to be honest with you.
So thanks for sharing everything today, Nick. It's been brilliant to have you on this episode. You've shared a ton of information about getting new windows and doors. And if you'd like to contact Nick, you can contact him via, I'll put the link to his website in the description below this video, and also you can find more trusted home improvement experts over at my Home Improvement Hub.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Nick.
It's been enjoyable. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.